guys, welcome back to my channel. This is finally going to be the full thyroidectomy surgery video. So let's get started. Just in case you're new and you haven't seen any of my videos before, I was diagnosed with Graves' disease in January of 2015. So almost 2 years ago, crazy. And I have documented a little bit of my struggle with this disease on YouTube. I filmed one really long video all about Graves' disease. I'm definitely going to link that right here in one of the cards and also at the end of the video, so you can just go click on that if you haven't seen that. Maybe it'd be a good idea to watch that one first before watching this video, because this is solely going to be based around my surgery. So yes. I have had quite a few comments from you guys asking for this video. A lot of you guys wanted to hear about the surgery, how it went, what I felt, all of that. And I have quite a few pictures to show you guys, not of the actual surgery, obviously. They're not too graphic, they're not really gross, but you are going to see my scar and everything, just so you know. So I'm gonna go in chronological order. As I said, I was diagnosed in January of 2015. I think it was January 8th. For a few months, I didn't really know what I wanted to do about this Graves' disease. There's a few different treatment options, and I'm going more into detail about those 3 treatment options that were offered to me here in Switzerland in my first video. So as I said, if you haven't seen that, go watch that first. At first, when I heard, that I had Graves', I was in total denial. I was like, no, I don't. This is not happening. I'm not sick. And because of that, it was very hard for me to think about, treatment options. And I was basically put on thyroid blockers the day I was diagnosed. So in the hospital, they put me on thyroid blockers and beta blockers and stuff like that. That is one of the 3 treatment options, and it's the one that you can, start the quickest. I took those up until my surgery. So up until the day of my surgery, I took those blockers. My first endocrinologist, so my first doctor, was kind of pushing me towards doing the 18 months on anti-thyroid medication. And at first I thought I was going to do that. That seemed like the normal standard thing to do. And I trusted her, I thought she knew what she was talking about. But then my mom started doing loads of research. And she's very smart and she really knows her stuff. And when she started to get into all of this, she was like, listen, these thyroid blockers are dangerous. They put a strain on your body. It's really hard for your body to function properly if you're constantly taking those thyroid blockers. And I get that they were saving my life at the time. I had to take them, I needed them. But after talking to my mom, I realized that it definitely was not a good thing. At least for me, I felt like I did not feel safe taking those thyroid blockers for a long amount of time. And I needed something to fix this problem in a different way. My mom actually took me out on a walk and told me, I think you should get surgery. Her mom, so my grandma, actually also had her thyroid removed. She also had Graves' disease, but hers was much more advanced, and her full thyroidectomy was an emergency surgery, which she basically could not agree to because she was in a coma. I had full control over if I wanted to do this or not. And at first I was a little bit scared. I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to do what the doctor is telling me to do. And then when I really started to look into it and when I really started to understand, what this disease is, and that probably, it would not be gone after those 18 months on thyroid blockers, I realized that I just needed to do this surgery. And from the moment on I decided on doing that, I felt like a huge weight had been lifted off of my shoulders, because I had a solution to this big problem, that was basically taking up a big part of my life. And my family, You know, my mom, my dad, my brother, and Vince, of course, they were so supportive in this whole thing. And I'm sure that, you know, seeing them very confident in my decision as well really helped me to feel even more comfortable in the decision that I had made. I went to talk to a surgeon. Actually, he is a professor here in Bern, and I went to talk to him about getting the surgery. I just wanted to hear his opinion, basically get a consultation and hear what he has to say about it. Getting the consultation was fairly easy. This is going to be different from country to country. As you guys probably know, I live in Switzerland and I live in Bern, so I live in a big city for Swiss standards. And we have a big university hospital. I knew that I wanted to get the surgery done at the big university hospital because a thyroid surgery is not an easy surgery. And I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. I talked to my doctor, to my endocrinologist at the time, and she also suggested going to that hospital because she felt like it was safest. So I'm really stressing that you guys do your research, know what doctor you want to operate on you, you know what I mean? Or to oversee the surgery. I feel like it's important that you know, take that matter into your own hands because it's gonna be someone cutting up your neck, basically. And after reading up on this guy and everything, I felt completely comfortable and I knew that he knew what he was doing. Even before the consultation, I was pretty sure I was gonna get the surgery. I just wanted to meet him first and see if, you know, the chemistry was right, and I felt like he was the guy to do it. So I went to the consultation. My mom came with me, and I am really glad that I wasn't alone. I feel like it's kind of important to have someone there to share this journey. If there are people in your life that are willing to, you know, be there and help you, take advantage of it, because it really will help you, you know, deal with all of this and get through it. To me, it was always important to have someone there in the consultation because 4 ears hear more than 2. So he basically explained everything to me very well. It was a pretty short consultation. He talked to me about all of the risks of the surgery. I knew about those risks beforehand, but he, you know, explained them to me very well. I felt like he was very professional and I felt like he was the guy to do it. So I was like, yeah, sounds good. I want to do it. Oop, someone wants to talk to me. Oh, that was just Instagram. He opened up his computer, checked for dates, and basically usually you have to wait quite a while to get a surgery like that. And I was totally prepared for that. I knew this might take a long time. So he opens up his little calendar, checks his dates, and he's like, I have a cancellation next week. Do you want to do it next week? And at first I was like, wow, okay, this is quick. But then I was like, you know what? This is a sign. You need to take this. I said yes. I took that date and I knew that I was going to get my thyroid removed 6 days later. I want to really make sure that you guys understand that even though this was I was very confident in this decision, I also always knew, like, I was never naive to what could have happened. I knew the things that I was risking, but I also knew the risks were very low. One of the risks is that your vocal cords or the nerves connected to your vocal cords could get damaged, which means if they cut one of them, if they cut one of the nerves, or if they damage one of them, because there's 2, if they damage one of them, basically you're gonna have a croaky voice. If they cut both of them, you could still talk, but it would be, first of all, very croaky, and second of all, very, very silent, basically. Not silent, but not very loud. Like, it would basically be a whisper. And then the other thing that is a fairly common thing that can happen is that the parathyroids, is that what they're called? The little calcium producing things that are hanging right behind the thyroid could be, you know, extracted while they're taking out the thyroid as well, like by accident, you know what I mean? Or they could be damaged as well, which means that your body wouldn't really be able to produce calcium anymore, which is basically not a good thing, but you can substitute calcium. You know, like, none of those things that could happen are basically absolutely horrible. Obviously, I would still want to be able to talk, and obviously I would still want to keep my parathyroids, but I'm saying those two risks I was totally willing to take. And as I said, those risks were tiny. They were like under 1%. Also, of course, you are under general anesthetic, is that what you call it? And so you're fully asleep. You have to be intubated and everything, and all of the risks that usually apply with that kind of anesthesia also apply to this surgery. So moving on with the story of how things went down. I had my consultation, talked to this guy, felt like he was the guy to do it, got my surgery date, and from that point on, I was like, wow, this is happening. But I have to tell you, I was never scared. Not really. I mean, I really knew that this was my best option, and I actually felt more thankful than I ever felt fearful, because I knew that this was something that was really gonna help me. Basically, fast forward to the day before the surgery, I took some pictures and videos of my neck, because like of me swallowing and stuff, because I knew this was the last time I was gonna be able to take a picture of my neck without a scar on it, and I knew it was the last time I was gonna see my neck with a thyroid in. And I am kind of, you know, pulling my neck so you can't really see the goiter very well, but I definitely had a visible goiter. My surgery was scheduled for 4 p.m. and I was supposed to get to the hospital at 10 a.m. My mom took me, and my dad was supposed to come after lunch. Vince actually was in the military at the time, so he wasn't there, which really did make it a little bit hard. That was, you know, one of the harder things for me, that he wasn't there, but I know there was no way he could have been, so it's okay. I got through it without him. I got checked in, and basically maybe like an hour later, this nurse comes in and she's like, okay, let's get you ready for the surgery. And I'm like, no, I'm not scheduled till 4. And she was like, yeah, you're scheduled for 4, but things got moved around, and basically you're on now. And because I had totally thought the surgery was at 4, I hadn't even really been nervous. You know, at 10 a.m. I thought it was a little bit, like really a little bit, but not very much. And I felt like, okay, let's do that. And my dad had not gotten there yet, which was also a little bit, I was like, no, can't go yet. I have to say goodbye to my dad first. But, you know, it is what it is. I was fairly sure that everything was gonna go okay and that I was gonna see him in a few hours. They got me ready for surgery, and they wheeled me into this preparation room, this pre-room, and I had to wait there, and they drew some blood, and they asked me, you know, what are you getting done, la la la, checking everything, making sure I was in the right place, and then they basically, you know, left me there to wait, which is totally normal. Like, there's a lot of other people around you, and I could hear a lot of people talking, you know, right and left to me, and it was fine. But at that point, I was a little bit nervous because there was no one around me that I knew, and I just remembered that I really had to pee, and I was like contemplating, should I go, should I not go, la la la, like I didn't really know if I was about to get up, and and I was already, like, they put in an IV in my arm and in my hand as well. Then I you know, finally I was like, I have to pee. So talked to someone, went to the bathroom. By the time I got out of the bathroom, those like 4 people were standing right in front of the bathroom like, oh, there you are, we were looking for you. Let's get you into surgery. They hooked me up to tons of machines that was, you know, monitoring my heart rate and everything. They wheeled me in front of the operation room. And this lady was talking to me, this nurse, and she was very nice. And I talked to her a little bit, and I heard this constant beeping, like beep, beep. It was like a pretty quick beeping sound. And I told the lady, I was like, oh my goodness, this beeping sound, it's such a nervous beeping sound. What is that? And she's like, that's your heart rate. I was like, what? Oh my goodness. And then I actually realized how nervous I was because my heart was beating really quickly. But she was like, it's okay, that's completely normal that you're nervous, it's gonna be okay. She told me that she was gonna, you know, give me something through the IV, and she specifically said, this is gonna make you really dizzy. But as soon as I give it to you, you're gonna feel a little dizzy. I'm gonna give you the mask to breathe through, and you're gonna be out. Basically, no. She didn't even say you're gonna be out. She was just like, you're gonna feel really, really dizzy, and I'm gonna give you the mask to breathe through. So I was like, sure. Wow, Nelly, it was crazy. I was like, it was maybe a 2-second period, but I have never been this dizzy in my life. It was it was like everything was turning. She gave me the mask and I was out. And I remember when I woke up, like after the surgery, I was like, that was so weird that, like, she didn't even tell me you're gonna be out like, I'm gonna give you the mask and you're gonna be out in a second or something. I didn't even realize that was the point that I was gonna be sleeping from. Everything went okay. I had a little bit of excessive bleeding on my left side, but they got that done. Apparently there was some drama in the operation room because they almost cut one of my vocal nerves, is that what you call them? Apparently one of the surgeons was working, and then the professor, was like, stop! Everyone stop! And, everyone stopped, and he was like, you were about to cut that vocal nerve. And apparently I have really weird vocal nerves. They were going through my thyroid in like weird ways. That is why, a thyroid surgery is not an easy surgery. You have to be a very skilled surgeon to do this right. And apparently they tried to get a signal from the vocal cord, like the vocal nerve, and they got no signal. So they basically thought one of them was damaged, which everyone was like, crap. Next thing I remember, obviously, is me waking up, and I was in the ICU because they want to keep you in the ICU overnight if you have any kind of surgery on your neck, because they're scared that your neck might swell up or something. I basically felt good. I actually took a picture basically right after I woke up. I still have like the oxygen in my nose. Right after I took that picture, my mom and my brother and my dad, I think, came in, and my mom brought me like this croissant thing that I ate, and I was basically feeling good. I was still a little bit drowsy. I was not nauseous at all, which I was so glad, because a lot of people get nausea from general anesthesia, which I did not, thankfully. And then, the doctors came, they talked to me, they told me what happened, and told me everything was fine. And the only thing that I really noticed, I had no pain whatsoever, nothing was hurting. The only thing was my throat was really dry, like super dry throat, and I had a little bit, like my throat was a little bit scratchy, and I couldn't really talk very well. Those were the few things that I realized. Even though during the surgery, they thought that they had damaged the vocal nerve to the point of it not working anymore, apparently they didn't, because my voice recovered and it's basically the same as it was before. The first 2 days after the surgery, I couldn't really talk. I was my voice was very crackling almost, and it was weird, and I was only able to whisper. That went away, thankfully, and I'm back to normal. So after that first night in the ICU, which was actually okay, like I slept most of the time because I was so tired, I came back to the room, to my normal regular patient room, and I had a lot of people come and say hi and everything, and I was just very tired. Like, I was very tired. I basically just wanted to lay and sleep and wait, and I just wanted to go home. So the doctors came in, they saw that everything was well, everything was good. I felt good. That was the moment when they were like, okay, you can go home. And so after only 2 nights in the hospital, I got to go home. I'm gonna keep inserting pictures here of what my scar looked like. I had this big white plaster on my neck right here, and I was able to take that off, or I was supposed to take that off on the second day, I think. And then I only had those little, like, obviously they had sewn it together, but then there was also those little strips on top that you're not supposed to take off, like they're supposed to fall off. I had to get my threads pulled out of the scar a week later. And so I went back a week later, they pulled them out, did not hurt at all. It was just basically tickling. Like she pulled on it on one end and it felt weird because I could feel it go through the skin, but because the skin is still a little bit numb, you can't really tell. After that, you know, I still had a little crust on it, like a little scab, and that kept falling off gradually, and I was really adamant to not touch it. I just tried to not do anything to it. And then about 2 weeks after the surgery, I started massaging the scar because they told me to get an almond oil cream and start massaging the scar. Basically told me you have to do 6 months of massaging it for a few minutes every day. But I did it every single night for about 8 months, and then I just now I just use whatever oil I use at night or whatever, and I just do that. And it works perfectly fine. During this whole time, I was staying at my parents' house. They were taking very good care of me. I basically had to do nothing, which was really nice. I had my surgery on July 14th, and about 2 weeks later, on July 30th, it was my birthday. And by that time, I felt totally okay. We went out to eat, and obviously you could still see my scar pretty well, so people gave me weird looks, but really, I did not care at all. I really felt like such a huge weight had been lifted off of my shoulders doing the surgery. And Vince actually got to come home early the weekend after my surgery, so he came home on Friday, which was amazing. I feel like the most important thing about this whole surgery experience for me was the people around me. I needed people to be there. I needed people to lean on. I needed people that were just there and that would just listen when I would be like, oh, I'm so tired or whatever. The only thing that I really felt after the surgery was like my neck was obviously still pretty swollen, so whenever I would swallow, I felt like there was something like pushing a little bit onto my neck. I never felt suffocated or anything, none of that. It was just a little bit uncomfortable. I'm just hopping in here because I forgot to tell you, like the complete idiot I am, one of the most important things, obviously, after the surgery, I do not have a thyroid anymore. So I need to take thyroid hormone replacement tablets for the rest of my life, which is totally fine with me. They're tiny little white, actually, you know what? Let me grab them real quick. Okay, so they're like this, and they're called Eltroxin. They're those tiny little white pills, and I take 150 micrograms per day, take them in the morning, half an hour to an hour before I eat anything, and that's it. I will probably have to take those for the rest of my life unless someone invents like an implant that will give me my thyroid hormone. I don't know. It was totally worth it. Those 2 seconds out of every day that I spend taking those pills are completely worth having my life back. So this is no problem whatsoever. Also, to clarify, this is not medication. This is a replacement, a hormone replacement. I am missing my thyroid hormone and I am getting it synthetically from my Eltroxin, and that works out great. So that's everything I really needed to say. Let's get back into the video and to what I was about to say. Bye. After the surgery, you know, I talked about that more in my first video, but after the surgery, starting a month after the surgery, I started feeling really bad. Like, really bad. And that was because my body was readjusting, you know, to life without a thyroid, and I basically hit a really bad thyroid low, and that kicked me in the butt. It was so bad. If you want to hear more about that, you can go watch my first video, talk about it in a lot more detail, but I don't want to make this video any longer than it already is. It was just very crucial to have people there to support me because I could not have done it. I could have not gone through all of this without the people in my life, basically. Like, it would have been completely impossible. But I just have to tell you that maybe your case is gonna be like mine and you're gonna have a tough few months after the surgery. So that was basically the story of my surgery. If you guys have any kind of questions about the surgery part, please let me know in the comments. If there are enough questions, I might do a little Q&A. It doesn't just need to be questions about the surgery, it could be questions about Graves in general. I would love to talk to you guys and answer any questions that you have. And the sun is setting, the lighting has totally changed. I'm sure you can see that, so I better wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching this video. It does mean a lot to me, and I really hope I was able to share a little bit of my surgery story with you in a way that is, you know, comprehensive and interesting as well. And if there's anyone else out there who has had a full thyroidectomy as well and wants to share their story, please do. I would love to read it. I will link the first Graves video right up here, and I will also link my update that I did I think a month or two ago, like health update, basically how much better I'm doing now and everything. You can watch that as well. And yeah, so thanks for watching. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.